Missouri coming off of a 91-48 loss in the bragging rights game to Illinois in St. Louis. It was their largest loss in that rivalry in its series history. 12 days off for the Tigers, and Florida back at it after playing within the week at home against Dartmouth. Good hands on the deflection. Florida has a bevy of scores, and here's Ruben Chinulo, and he gets deep but can't finish, and it's rebounded by Jaden Stone. Native of Perth, Australia. A few different stops on his basketball journey, and he's back in the starting lineup for the Tigers after shooting 42% from deep in the first third of the season. Stone guarded by Thomas Houck.
If that doesn't show you how big Florida is, Thomas Houck at the 3 guarding Stone right now.
Anthony Robinson gets in the paint, contested, tried to dump it off. It's saved on the baseline, but Missouri runs out of time. And a shot clock violation by the Florida defense. The Gators have had primarily the same starting 5 all season, but for one game. Boogie Fland runs the point. He shares the backcourt with Xavier Lee. Both of them transferred in. Lee from Princeton. Fland played for John Calipari at Arkansas last year.
This is a Florida team much better for 2 than 3.
Jaden Stone with the steal and the flush. Impacting the game immediately on the defensive end.
Welcome back. His motor and energy has been through the roof to start this game.
Land dumps it off for Condon, and he splashes home his first. Came in just 4 of 24 from deep, but he's hit 3 of his last 5.
Yeah, he's been part of the problem for their three-point shooting woes, but he could be part of the solution as well. 33% from deep last year. Very capable.
Here's Robinson, pulled up mid-range. Skips off the rim, and one of the best rebounding teams in college basketball. In fact, by margin, the best. Florida pulls it off the glass. Good ball movement. Corner 3. Lee is good.
And he is gaining confidence every single time out on the court. Is Lee. Great swinging of the ball that time, side to side by the Florida Gators.
Florida came into this game dead last in the SEC in three-point percentage. They've knocked down their first 2. An answer from Jaden Stone.
You think he's excited to play?
Lee left uncovered for a moment. He drains his second.
He was excited, but got a little bit too excited. Didn't get matched up on Lee. Love the tempo of this.
Mark Mitchell decides he'll pull. Mitchell just 3 of 17 from deep. Florida's happy to have him shooting from 22 feet. Lee again, and that one off the mark. Robinson able to fight off Condon for the rebound. Mitchell, versatile big, drives but lost it. It will stay with Mizzou.
Well, you've got to identify shooters. This is a Florida team that has struggled from 3, but that does not mean they are not capable. And Todd Golden said, look, this is a Missouri team that allows you to shoot a lot of 3s. My guys are not going to be instructed to turn any down because of the quality looks I think we're going to get. They capitalize early.
Lob to Mitchell, guarded by Lee. They brought a double from Houck. Here's Stone again. Yes, sir! Jaden Stone off to a monster start. He's got all 8 for Mizzou in his return to the floor.
I mean, how much better is Missouri with him on the court? It's not an overreaction just by the first few plays. This guy makes a huge difference.
Good thing you featured him in the open, huh? And the baseline drive results in a foul charged to Missouri. That'll be Stone who picks it up.
Yeah, Stone's just a really nice player. I love the energy he's played with. The big question was, hey, it's a small sample size. We hadn't seen Stone play against the best competition due to injury. But if you watch the film on him, you see the athleticism, the energy. He's got a pop to his game that just jumps off the screen, and you see it here early.
So here's Alex Condon at the free throw line. One of 2 Australians, the other one's Stone, and he's talking to Condon before he gets his second shot up. They're both from Perth, and Owen Short, the official, says, I know you're excited to be on the floor. You guys can talk Vegemite some other time. Owen coming for Condon. Condon's got 5 and Florida's 11.
Yeah, that's a really good start for Condon, quietly. I mean, to see a couple go through, knock down a couple free throws, he's so impactful, but he's not been at his most confident.
Stone, ton of confidence. And it's out of bounds off of Mizzou.
And Stone just gives Missouri another weapon because they run so much for Mitchell, so much for Cruz, and to have that third scorer and also take pressure off of Robinson at the point guard spot, really a domino effect in a positive way.
Meanwhile, Trent Pierce enters for Missouri. Here's Flan, guarded by Robinson. Behind the screen from Chinyelu. And they get it deep, and Chinyalu's able to convert.
That is such a perfect pass by Flan to get it over essentially a 7-footer on the money and make a catchable ball.
Here's Robinson. Roy, thank you. We welcome those of you who are watching Mississippi State, Texas. And once again, a high-scoring game for the nation's highest-scoring conference, the SEC. And a blistering start here in Columbia, Missouri. Tom Hart alongside Dane Bradshaw. Florida has hit 3 of 4 from deep. And Jaden Stone, as his return to the Missouri lineup, has gotten off to a monster start.
Credit to Todd Gold and his staff. The roster construction, that national championship team was the first since the tourney expanded to 64 plus to win without a top 100 high school recruit.
Wow.
And so in this transfer portal era, identifying the right pieces, getting them to fit, and finding some of these diamonds in the rough is what he's been able to do.
That included Walter Clayton, most outstanding player of the Final Four. So they had to replace that backcourt. They looked into the portal. They got Xavier Lee and Boogie Flan. Mitchell's a lefty. He overplays on the left. Got off balance against handlocked in. Tried to regather, got blocked. They said it's a jump ball and stays with Missouri. Good defense by Micah Handlockton playing Mitchell's strong side.
Yeah, Mitchell struggles against length. When you can bring multiple bodies at him, and Florida has that, that's where you can really make him frustrated. And he's one of the best in the country at drawing fouls. So you must defend without fouling, something Illinois did really well against Missouri in that win.
Off the inbounds, Pierce open for 3. Tigers welcome Trent Pierce to the floor for the first time this season. Pierce was a part-time starter last year for Missouri. He was out for the first 13 games with a hip injury. Dennis Gates didn't have him much through the fall or the summer. And so the potential for growth for this Missouri team is real now that they've got these key pieces back and not just playing, but practicing together. Gators solve the pressure. Here's Howe. Nope. Handlockton can't follow. And a loose ball. Saved by Pierce to Robinson.
Tom, one of the things Dennis Gates said that was a blessing in disguise. They did not schedule a game after the break before conference play and allowed them to stay in the practice gym, have 2-a-days, and you're seeing these results right now. A very sharp, inspired Missouri team.
Tigers within 2. Florida shooting 4 for 8 from the floor, 3 for 4 from deep. Xavier Lee's got a couple of threes himself. Condon hit a 3 for the first bucket of the game for the Gators. Out to Condon. Beautiful spin move, challenge with the block from Pierce, and that'll be a foul on Pierce. Oh, they got Northweather for the foul, pardon me.
Well, that's a really good, quick spin move by Condon. I think the defender was thinking he was just going to Barkley him down a little bit with a dribble or two. Good, strong move. Condon, again, started off pretty strong. Hit a couple free throws, hit a 3. This is a guy that was 4 for 24 from deep coming into tonight, whereas last year he was 33% from 3. So they need him to not only be a rebounder, but an offensive weapon both inside and out.
Another one coming for Condon. Missouri answers with Jacob Cruz off the bench. That's what Dennis Gates had in mind going into the season. Stone, the starter at that spot, and Cruz playing the Caleb Brill role by being a 6-man sharpshooter. Good hands by Houck, nearly forced the turnover.
Well, you got to love this crowd, right? I mean, they've had Missouri's back after that tough loss to Illinois. Missouri's inspired, so is this fan base.
Into the corner for Pierce. Body's on the floor. Northlander had the rebound from his Tookus. Can't get rid of it, and he gets tied up. It'll be another jump ball. Did you have Tookus on your bingo card today?
Not quite, but I will say, you just can't underestimate the value of team practices fully healthy, and that's what Dennis Gates was so emphatic about was, man, we have not been able to practice. We haven't been fully healthy. It's just, you know, musical chairs every time we take the practice court. And they had that long break after Christmas to get right. And, man, are they starting off just as good as they could and showing a ton of effort.
So Tigers go full court again. Florida hasn't scored in 2 minutes and 19 seconds. It's a confident Florida team still trying to figure out consistency. It's not a great shooting team at this point. 14th in the league in field goal percentage, 16th dead last in the league in 3%. Klobuchar off the bench.
They're about 3 or 4 percentage points away from being a Final Four favorite, but that's what's held them from being that same team.
Urban Klobuchar weaves his way through traffic. He gives them 9 a game, had 12 in the win against Dartmouth. It's a Florida team that has won 4 in a row following a 2-game losing streak and an incredible strength of schedule put together by Todd Golden. Look at this move by Howe, and what a finish. That is your current SEC Player of the Year based on production. What a run for Thomas Howe.
Well, and Houck knows exactly where the driving lane's going to be. He sees his teammate Alex Condon. Nobody does it better in the country than Florida. Condon just clears space and gets Houck the easiest 2 he's going to have all game. Great chemistry for the Florida Gators. It's a little bit here and there, not only as a team, but on the individual personnel. But this team has all the weapons. They've got the size, and they have an identity, and it is toughness, rebounding, and strength, and a stable of big men.
Well, one key piece is Isaiah Brown, who comes off the bench as they try to develop that 7th, 8th man. Here's Flan working on Teal Barrett. Flan last 5 games, just 2 for 14 from three-point land. Turnaround fadeaway. Yes, sir. He can do a lot of that.
Well, that's a great back-to-back possession by Flan. Most guys would have got burned on the back door. He anticipated it, got the steal, then hits a tough midi.
6-0 Gator run. Here's Sebastian Mack. Dennis Gates deep into his bag in terms of rotations already. Cruz with the back cut, and he's fouled by Klobuchar.
As you saw right there, if Missouri's bigs, in particular Phillips, gets the ball, they're going to stay glued to the guards, our Florida, and try to make him be a one-on-one playmaker. But a really nice job of just passing and catching between Phillips and Cruz in traffic there.
Jacob Cruz gives Missouri 14 points a game. He's hit the 20-point mark 4 of the last 6 games for Mizzou. 78% from the free throw line for the nation's 4th best three-point shooter at 51%.
This guy's an absolute flamethrower, and that's what happens when you play for Dennis Gates. You go from being a good shooter to a great shooter. We saw it with Kobe Brown, we saw it with Caleb Grill, and now we're seeing it with Cruz, the way they make the next jump. And there were no fundamental changes in his shot. It was more about shot selection that has him shooting at such a high clip this year. And
a big part of that is Dennis Gates running plays for Cruz to get clear shots. Here's Lee. It took a little while for Xavier Lee to adjust to this level of play after being an all-Ivy performer at Princeton. 5 to shoot. Howe having an all-American season, off the mark, rebounded by Sean Phillips Jr. Cruz posting up, lead, foul, and go to the line. Well, both sides have identified what they think are mismatches or weak links in attacking, and that's what Cruz just did with Lee. They lead the nation in all of those categories, and Chinyelu, who leads the SEC in rebounding, pulls down 4 offensive rebounds a game. Cruz clanks the first.
And Tom, they track those. They call them duck-in assists through the Florida Gators. That guy right there gets 2.5 of those per game. 2.5 assists per game on their duck-in chart because of what we just saw in those videos.
Here's Lee. He'll bring it up for Florida. He had 2 threes early. And he's got a team-high 6 points. Isaiah Brown looking for Chinyelu. Florida will often have 2 bigs on the floor at the same time. Klobuchar fade away. Wow, he's feeling it.
He's made 6 of his last 14 coming into tonight. He is one of the Florida Gators that's really gaining confidence from 3.
4 of 6 from deep in this one as the Gators lead by 8. And a push off as Sebastian Mack tried to get free. Gators have heated up. They made 4 out of 5.
Well, Klobuchar is just starting to really become a microwave off the bench for this Florida Gator team that isn't really deep. I mean, he is clearly their 7th man that provides them that energy. They don't quite have the Denzel Aberdeen yet. They're trying to figure out who is that 8th man.
Klobuchar just glanced off the side of the rim, but an offensive rebound, and it will be Florida basketball. Isaiah Brown on the glass that time. Last year's 6th man for Florida, as you mentioned, was Denzel Aberdeen. He's now suiting up for Kentucky. And so Klobuchar has a real opportunity in front of him for the 6-time FIBA champion with the Slovenian national team. Came to Florida from Real Madrid, and there's a Florida turnover. A little physical.
Well, and the #1 thing Todd Golden didn't want to do against this Missouri zone baseline out-of-bounds defense was turn the ball over. And that's exactly what happened on that play with the offensive foul. He said, look, if you got to throw it to half court, get into half-court offense, let's do it. But that's how Missouri upset Florida on the road last year in Gainesville, was specifically baseline out-of-bounds defense.
Awesome on 4 different baseline out-of-bounds entries in what turned out to be an 83-82 win for Missouri. Mitchell whistles it inside to Cruz.
Well, they're going at Lee, and that's the 2nd time Cruz has just said, throw it to me, I got Lee posted up.
Out with the kick, here's Lee. Into traffic off the side of the backboard.
And that's going to be an interesting storyline this year. Lee is really good, a great offensive player, but teams are going to make him work on the defensive end.
And now Mitchell trying to attack Condon. Goes back to his left and still gets it to go. First bucket for Mizzou's leading scorer. Lee finds Condon. What a feed.
And you got Lee coming off that, hitting 6'10", Chinyelu clearing space like we talked about. That's as good as it gets.
15 assists a game for this Florida team that's 10th in the league in scoring. And a foul on that possession. How about going back to the last Missouri bucket?
Just really good play here by Mitchell. You know he loves to go back to his left hand, but just finishes over the top, and they don't bring that second defender. And then Chinyelu clears out space. Condon playing really well here in the first half for Florida.
By the way, if you want to succeed in the SEC this year, you better score. The SEC is the top scoring conference in points per game and points per possession. The average for SEC teams is 87 points a game. Georgia leads the country in scoring, and Mike White's team put up 104 in an overtime win earlier this afternoon. 4 to shoot. It's Mitchell for 3. A rare triple for Mark Mitchell, just his 4th of the year. 1 possession game here in Columbia. Condon got a half step on Mitchell and draws another foul. Condon went to the free throw line 12 times in the last matchup between these two.
Yeah, he has been really aggressive to start this game. And I think just seeing that first 3-ball go in for Condon just created a whole different mindset for him. And for all these players, whether you've had a good non-conference or not, getting that fresh start to conference play where you can say, I can put my shooting woes behind me and enter conference play 0 for 0. And he's had a great start to this first half.
Alex Condon, junior from Perth, Australia, out of the NBA Global Academy. And Jaden Stone, 6-year player also from Perth, Australia, came the United States at just 15 years old. You think they got Vegemite running on this game? 9 points and 2 boards for Alex Condon. Preseason All-America and preseason first-team All-Conference selection. Robinson. Plan went under the screen. Robinson couldn't find the bucket.
And they need him to be a threat from three, does Missouri. He has been terrific defensively, running the show offensively. But the junior from Tallahassee, Florida knows, hey, I got to knock that one down.
Florida 9 of 17 from the floor. That's 53% right now. And 4 of their 9 makes have come from deep. But what will eventually Florida's offensive identity be? Will they turn into more of a perimeter-oriented team, or will they just be grinders and pounders inside?
You're about to see it here. Look at how come off 2 screens, 6'10", 6'10", get all the way to the rim. So you've got 6'9" Houck on the left side of the, and he's going to come off of 2 screens with a dribble handoff, and then you got a shooter in the corner. That is so difficult to defend. And this is their identity, to your point. All right, we can't get our first option. Good luck guarding this and getting through those screens. And if he wanted to, he could have kicked it out to a corner 3 where a shooter was.
Junior from New Oxford, Pennsylvania. Houck is scoring better than 22 points a game in their wins. And in the 2 games against Missouri last year, Thomas Houck drew 14 fouls and went to the free throw line 18 times.
Dennis Gates, Missouri head coach, just raved about it. He said, man, that Houck kid, he's playing like a first rounder, no question about it.
Todd Golden said at shoot around today, it's all about expectations. Wow, Robinson had that thing cocked back through the foul from Handlock. Aggressive take.
Todd Golden said, hey, my guy was straight up. Just because he attempted a dunk doesn't mean it was a foul. I think it's the right call, though. Handlocked it, going from point A to point B. Once you do that and go towards the defender, you're no longer in legal guarding position.
So Anthony Robinson the second, last 3 games giving Mizzou 15 points and 4 assists per game. And we talk about the impact that the healthy returnees, Jaden Stone and Trent Pierce, will have on the court. Certainly, that should help the offensive spacing and help Anthony Robinson.
Yeah, and Robinson is part of that trio that was Missouri only had 3 returning starters in the SEC. The only team that could boast about that, and Robinson being one of those guys. And so, again, once healthy, you see what this Missouri team is capable of. And now they're going to mix in some of their zone defense to try to throw Florida off a bit.
See how Florida attacks it. Into the corner, Houck shuffles it to Condon. Nice pass. The Florida bigs, Houck included, are elite and unselfish passers.
But that is the shot Missouri wants them to take. On film, they said, we have not seen the Florida bigs shoot from 6 to 8 feet all season long.
Phillips going strong. Sean Phillips Jr. with his first bucket. Where does Florida want to attack the zone?
Well, I think they want to try to hit the middle, and Missouri's going to try to bait Condon to shoot that little floater right there by the logo. They're going to play off that.
Tried to pass it in the paint, knocked around 6 to shoot. Here's Flan left alone. And rebounded by Robinson. Pushes, lobs, Barrett, yes sir! Missouri getting 14 points a game on the fast break. And they get a huge bucket here to make it a 1-possession game again. On their feet at Mizzou Arena. Flan into the corner, Houck fires and answers.
Typically, you want to get the ball inside out a little bit, but Florida just swings it around, and when you're 6'9" and a high release, you can get your shot off just about any time.
Half of Florida's makes have come from deep. Phillips hands off to Barrett. Jaden Stone started this game for Missouri, but on the bench in foul trouble with 2. Go back to the big, rejected by Condon, but they're going to get him for a foul. Second on Alex Condon, 5-point Florida lead.
Well, Missouri is giving these fans every reason to get on their feet. They have come in here with a whole new intensity to start conference play. It looks like Missouri basketball. They're running back and forth, up and down the court, creating tempo, but Florida has answers of their own. Missouri, from a scatter report and mentality and toughness standpoint, has answered the challenge so far.
Illinois had 29 second chance points off of 15 offensive rebounds. They were plus 19 on the glass. It wasn't just that they got the offensive rebounds, but the rate of return was through the roof, powered in large part based on Illinois' three-point shooting. They knocked down 15 triples.
And Missouri can be a better rebounding team. They've got the size, they've got the height. Now it's got to be the mentality, and when they switch, they got to be able to box out the person they switch on.
Barrett near steal. Gators have 5 on 3 now. Two different Tigers were leaking. Gators couldn't take advantage. Klobuchar 5 to shoot. Here's Houck. Just off the mark. Shot that one from Arnold on the logo.
Yeah, I thought he turned down an open one early that he could have shot on the left wing, resulted in a late clock NBA ranked shot.
Gators have led by as many as 8, and every time Missouri has made it a one-possession game, Florida has had an answer. Here's Mitchell. Mismatch and another foul on the lob to Cruz, known as a sharpshooter, but they're taking advantage of his size at 6'8".
You're exactly right. That's the third time they've hit Cruz on that same type of play. Twice on Lee and that time on Klobuchar. They are so glued and hugged up on him, waiting for him to come off screens. And Missouri's really simplified the game and just said, hey, we got a mouse in the house. Throw it up to Cruz.
51 of Cruz's 76 attempts coming into the season, or into this game, have come from 3. And he's just a 70% shooter in the low post, which is not an elite rate. But he's taken advantage of his size against the Florida backcourt tonight.
Yeah, this is a smaller Florida lineup. Still big, but they don't have Houck at the 3. He's at the 4, so that allows Missouri to take advantage from what we just saw.
These are the 2 tallest teams in the SEC, even though the 10 on the floor don't reflect that at the moment. Brown. Whoa! Oh my goodness! Isaiah Brown! Hello, Rufus! Well, Todd Golden's looking for another man to give him some assistance off the bench.
I still don't know if he dunked that frontward, backward, sideward. That was nasty.
A near turnover, and it'll be a foul on Mitchell. Pardon me, on Phillips.
And this is what you call running through the ball on your catch. No triple threat, just a go catch. Watch him catch it full speed ahead. Oh my gosh, got a body. Woo! I mean, that's a half reverse up high at the rim. Come give me that. I mean, Todd Golden said, I'm not sure who's going to step up and be our 8th man. Hey, I think Brown just said, I'm your guy.
Well, we've known what Brown could do for you because he finished 2nd in the Slam Dunk Nationals at the Final Four while at Orlando Christian Prep. And usually in the Slam Dunk contest, you don't have to go through 5 opponents to do it.
Well, his brother AJ's on the team, older brother, and they asked him early in the season, do you remember the first time you beat your older brother? He said, oh yeah. And his brother AJ said, controversial ending. He went at that rim like he was trying to beat his older brother.
Klobuchar. Disadvantage in the height department with Cruz. 2 to shoot. Land's got a squeeze. And ball tipped out into the hands of Klobuchar. It was Missouri who tipped it out. Brown, no, but a foul on the rebound underneath with Cruz fighting for position, and that'll be the first on the Missouri floor.
One of the few times Florida's gotten extra opportunities, and that time it's just been tap outs. They couldn't get the offensive positioning they wanted for the board down low, and the bigs just tap it out to the perimeter.
6 assists on 11 buckets for Florida. issue for Missouri has been 5 turnovers. Here's Ruben Chinyelu, who made his 54th consecutive start tonight. He has 3 consecutive double-doubles. That's the first for a Gator since the great David Lee did it in '05. And his first in the SEC came against Missouri last year. He went for 14 and 11 in the first game, 13 and 12 in the second game.
He's really an instructional video on how to rebound and how to high point the ball, catching it with 2 hands at its highest point. Nobody does it better than 9 and blue.
6-point Florida lead. Tigers shooting at a 50% clip. A big departure from their struggles against Notre Dame, Kansas, and Illinois, when they shot just 42% from 2. But the turnovers have been a thorn in their side. Mitchell offering the screen for Robinson. Pin Klobuchar. Robinson trying to muscle in. Off the glass and in.
Missouri sees something they like with Florida's backcourt. The smaller guards, Lee and Klobuchar, are going to have to either hold their own more down low or get some help.
Offensive foul.
That's a big one. That's 3.
And so Condon will have to go to the bench with 4:26. Florida has plenty of depth on that front line, including Micah Hanlogton, 7'1" senior, coming off the bench. Robinson. Rebounded by Lee. Houck floater. Clangs off the back. And a loose ball. Florida's gotten just about every one of those 50-50s. Tend to shoot. Lee into Hanlogton. And fouled as Robinson came in to help. That'll take us to a timeout. It's the second on Anthony Robinson. Pardon me, it's the first on Robinson. Florida leads by 4. Back to Mizzou in a moment.
Interestingly, where Florida had the mismatch really in the paint, it's been Missouri 12-10 because of the way the Tigers have been able to post some of the Gator guards.
Hanlogton clangs the free throw, Cruz the rebound. Nicholas Randall is in the game for Missouri. Dennis Gates has already put 10 different players on the floor in this first half. Here's Cruz. And now Sebastian Mack. Trying to lob it to Cruz again. And he gets fouled before the ball can get to him. That's not working on the 6'4" Isaiah Brown.
Well, Houck was coming over a little bit late on that, but I think that's the adjustment Florida wants to make is, hey, this is not a Missouri team that's just spreading you out with a ton of three-point threats. So if you're not guarding a three-point shooter and you see a guard getting posted up, come help on that situation, discourage that pass. And if they kick it to the corner to a non-shooter, so be it.
7 points for Cruz, 5 of them from the free throw line for the graduate student out of Hillard, Florida. Played at North Florida, then JUCO route to Daytona State before tearing up the nets at UT Martin. He had a great game against Notre Dame in South Bend earlier this year, scored 14 of his 22 in the first half, but the Tigers gave away the lead late. And 2 for 2 from the line. Dennis Gates' team once again makes it a one-possession game. This is Florida's starting 5 minus Condon. The Fland and Lee back on the floor together for the first time in a while. Here's Brown taking Condon's spot in the lineup. Houck downhill. Blocked by Mitchell. And it's off of Houck and will belong to Missouri. Mark Mitchell, one of the most versatile players in the entire SEC, showing off on the defensive end.
You're exactly right. He can guard 1 through 5. Terrific instincts and timing there to get the block, defend without fouling. There's better backside help.
Spins to his right, a rare right-handed shot. Cruz bails him out. That one didn't hit the rim. Shot clock didn't reset. Now to his left. Left side, strong side. Mitchell's tied it up at 35. Flag crossover. Rebounded by Mizzou and Nicholas Randall. Tigers looking for the lead. Mitchell. Randall, the freshman, got to get his feet set. And the Tigers will reset. Building will erupt if Mizzou can find the lead. Haven't led since it was 2-0. 7 to shoot. Robinson. Went right by Howard. Shot clock didn't go off. And the Gators get their second shot clock violation of the game.
Robinson couldn't have handled that ball screen any better. He snaked the defense and then just overshot it 2 feet away from the basket. Well, Dennis Gates has to be absolutely thrilled. This is a completely different Missouri team than we've seen this season against quality competition. They got blown out by Kansas. They got blown out by Illinois. Now they're fully healthy. They've got their swagger back. And they have really played a terrific, almost flawless first half here.
There's Brown. And now Flan. Flan behind his back. Now Lee, mismatched with Randall. Can't shake it. Toe to shoot. One to shoot. And it's pinned against the glass. They'll call it goaltending with a second left on the shot clock. And Dennis Gates wants him to give it a look. How'd you see it?
I saw it as a goaltend. I thought it got there late. It was a really nice job by Lee, understanding shot clock, getting that ball off the backboard. Terrific one-on-one defense by the big fella Randall, but boom. Yeah, I think it hits the glass first. We'll find out real quick if there's going to be...
The following play is under review for possible timing error.
This is not a coach's review. However, what's unique about this is they called this basket good, but if Missouri says, hey, I don't think this was a goaltend, Missouri can challenge this.
After review, no timing error, basket is good.
Stoic Dennis Gates on the Missouri sideline. That look belies the confidence that he has in his program. Living day by day is Jaden Stone, who scored the first 8 for Missouri. Now he's back on the floor. Robinson, foul away from Paul. And that's on Lee. It is the second on Xavier Lee. And the 10th Florida team foul, so 2 free throws coming for Jaden Stone.
But you're exactly right. Stone absolutely set the tone to start this game. Picked up those 2 personals, but he ignited this crowd, his team, and brought in energy.
Well, he's just happy to be on the floor. He's got 86 career DNPs due to injury for the most part. He's missed 86 games. He's played in 75. That includes the entire season last year at West Virginia when he suffered a concussion early in the year and never got over the concussion issue. Stop over at Grand Canyon and Detroit Mercy, where he was their #1 offensive option in the entire league.
Tom, I want to go back to the question Damian Fishback asked. This is a Missouri team whose three-point defense, they force teams to shoot 47% of their shots from 3. So they want you to live on the outside.
And they'll count that one. And you can feel the intensity, Dave, for this Missouri team and playing the SEC opener here at home.
Well, when you know you're going up against arguably the toughest, strongest front court in the SEC, you got to be ready to fight. And this Missouri team right now has brought that energy and effort. But credit Florida. I mean, Missouri's played as well as they can right now, and Florida, thanks to some better shooting from 3 than the season has been for them,
Mitchell's drawn to the rack. Kicklu denies it, and Florida comes out of there under a minute to play. Here's Flan. To shoot for Lee. They get in the paint, off balance, to shoot, and Missouri nearly came out of there with it. Another 50-50 ball won by the Gators. Then 3.2 to shoot. It'll go back to Mizzou with 6 seconds left in the half. Well, Florida will use a timeout. Dane, what do you think Missouri draws up here with 16 seconds left?
Well, you certainly want to make sure you get the last shot.
Now they've got Ingram on the floor with Brown, and Flan will be guarding Robinson, so no huge advantage for Cruz now. And to shoot in the half. Robinson patiently. 6 now. Guarded by Flan. 3 to play in the half. Out for a 3. Pop out is good! And the 3 ball goes for Mizzou, and this thing is tied at 39. Just 7 for 17 at the rim, which has negated the size advantage for the Gators, despite the fact that they have collected 7 offensive rebounds. So here we go, second half of action from Mizzou Arena in Columbia. 94th season of SEC basketball, and we have already seen some barn burners on this opening Saturday. Anthony Robinson got Flan hooked, got deep, and is able to lay it up and in. That's like giving your fraternity brother a fish hook. Well, put him to the asphalt and keep going.
A little taste of their own medicine from Florida there, as Phillips was the one that set that highway clear-out screen.
Houck open on the wing. Short. Collected another offensive rebound, but another miss for Houck on the possession.
Well, curious to see if Florida can continue to shoot at a high clip from beyond the arc. Has not been their strength this season, but was in the first half.
Mitchell and Phillips playing give and go from 6 feet. Mitchell uses his right hand. Tigers up by 4. Largest lead of the game for the hometown Tigers. Mitchell gamble. Todd Golden talked to the officials at the end of the first half. He wants a little bit more consistency, and they get Mitchell for the reach-in. You thought that game-tying 3 at the end of the half should have been an illegal screen?
I did. I thought he moved a little bit, did Cruz. And to Coach Golden's point, they've called a couple of them, and that in the first half they got Alex Condon in foul trouble. But nevertheless, a really brilliant design play to use Cruz again as a decoy.
Here's Lee. Off the mark on the baseline out of bounds. Florida is 0 for 2 on baseline out of bounds. 1 turnover and a missed shot.
Yeah, again, this is a Missouri team that forces teams to shoot 47% of their shots from deep. That's one of the top 10 in the country. And so Florida, if you're going to take the bait, you better make it and not create a 3-point shootout.
Tigers looking for an upset against the ranked Florida team here at home. The ranked teams have already gone down today, including both North Carolina and Kansas. Robinson's into double figures.
And that's another guard-on-guard play there, essentially a post-up for Missouri.
Florida trying to push the tempo. Houck to Condon. Rebounded by Stone. Full head of steam for the Aussie. And an illegal screen charged to Phillips. That is his 3rd personal foul.
Well, I had a coach once say, I never argue with the refs because they can't change their call. And I thought, you know what? Yeah, but you can influence the next call and tell them what you're seeing that they might not be seeing. And I think Todd Golden's interaction with the officials had them taking a closer look at those illegal screens the way they just called right there. That was my coach in Holland, by the way. We went 5 and 35, so we didn't agree on much.
Well, the official rules of basketball took a while to sail across to Holland, didn't they?
Yeah, it did.
Phillips has to take a seat. Missouri goes with Luke Northweather, who's from about 25 minutes south of here down Highway 63, Jeff City, Missouri, at Blair Oaks High School. Houck wants a touch. Flan directing traffic. Condon. Flan behind the screen. Nope.
What's that, 4 straight threes to open this second half for Florida? They've got to find a way to get the ball inside, get it off the rim, and let their offensive rebound continue to be their strength.
Robinson and Chinulu got him on skates, but couldn't find the rim, and Cruz saves it to Condon, to Houck, to Chinulu. Hello! Give Rufus a kiss!
What a brilliant tap by Houck and Condon, and how quick they were able to get that ball out before Missouri could foul to try and take away the fast break.
Here's Northweather. Played 2 years at Oklahoma, including a big game against Missouri at Lloyd Noble a couple of years ago. Cruz, fade away 1 foot over Houck. What a shot by the veteran Jacob Cruz.
Good defense, better offense to a T.
11 points for Cruz. Condon baseline spin into Northweather, off balance. Missouri's got all the momentum now. Northweather corner 3.
It's the time to go right now if you're Florida, before Missouri can get back in their half court. This guy with the ball, Lee, he could be a dynamite offensive weapon, but has not been able to get much going since those 2 early threes.
Lee over Mitchell as he faded off of him. And a foul on the floor on the rebound. I believe that's Northweather, his second. So another baseline out of bounds for Florida. Missouri gave him fits with his zone defense in this scenario last year. We haven't seen this specific stack play from Florida yet.
We'll look for this one just to go back to half court. Florida said, look, we're just not going to turn it over. We just got to get the ball in back.
Gators 1 for 8 this half, including 0 for 5 from 3. And another whistle away from the ball. Northweather, again.
And that's the game within the game. Chinulu is going to just keep going after you over and over, trying to get angles for himself and teammates, and try to get his team into the bonus early.
So Northweather will have to take a seat. Nicholas Randall, the 6'9" freshman, saw some time in the first half.
Tom, that's 4 fouls already on Missouri, so you've got to defend without fouling here, so you don't allow this Florida team that's struggling in the half court offensively a little bit to get easy ones at the line.
Condon lob. Oh! Wow! From the rafters! Florida with the design play to throw it down. It's a 4-point Mizzou lead. Cruz fighting with Houck on the way. Randall versus the veteran Chinulu, and now Robinson. 5 to shoot for the Tigers. Fade away, 1-foot shot. Finds its hole. A dozen for Anthony Robinson, the second. Tigers into the zone again. Flan finds a soft spot. Can't connect. Chinulu knocked it out. In Columbia, Missouri, the reigning national champs are on the ropes. Mizzou leading by 6 on their home court.
And if we know anything about Dennis Gates, is he is cool and calm under pressure. This was a guy that turned around a team that went 0-18, never flinched, got the next year's team to the NCAA tournament. So a little setback isn't going to stop him.
I think it's a simple explanation. 4 words. New year, new you. Florida shows zone for the first time. Here's Pierce. 7 to shoot for the Tigers. Here's his first game of the season. Stone left it short, and a rebound into the hands of Houck, and then a reach in on Stone, and that's his 3rd personal foul.
Well, that's one he'd like to get back right there, because we've seen how valuable he was to Missouri's fast start. So you want to be aggressive, but that's a silly one, 80-plus feet away from the basket.
Don Daly is having a talking to with. He's like the mom on Christmas morning when one kid starts unwrapping his gifts before it's their time. Just stop. Stop. Here's Chinyelu, guarded by the freshman Randall. He's got Pierce to help out. Whoa, hard screen from Chinyelu.
The lack of paint touches from Florida.
Here's Klobuchar. And stolen away by Anthony Robinson. Rufus. He's got 14, including 8 in the second half. Klobuchar the other way. The lob is tipped away. Another run out.
Robinson's got
a bum ankle.
Yeah.
And they'll stop play as he hops to the Missouri bench. Is it a cramp or did he turn the ankle? Looks like a cramp the way the athletic training staff is working on him. His parent.
Yeah, he's an athletic player. He jumped that passing lane, but he did not get up as high as I think he intended to, and I'm not sure it didn't hamper him on the way up.
I think you're right. I think it was on the launch, and that kept him from throwing it down. He's better than his scoring average already with 13 to play. Mitchell from 14 feet. Kept alive by Mizzou. Another 50-50 ball won by Florida. It's more like 90-10 to the veteran Gators, the reigning national champions. Here's Steele again. Numbers for Florida. Lee. Yes, sir. Xavier Lee with his third triple of the game.
And we asked Todd Golden at shoot-around, we said, hey, are you going to ask your players to turn down some of those threes given the fact that Missouri baits you into so many? He goes, no, I like the quality of looks we can get. I want our guys to shoot it with confidence, as Lee did right there.
Here's Mitchell. Not much of a perimeter threat, though he hit a three in the first half. 8 to shoot. Barrett got free, and he spun on Klobuchar.
Well, it doesn't matter if it's Klobuchar, Lee, Fland. Missouri guards smell blood when they get a one-on-one matchup.
Klobuchar. No good. Mizzou chance to run. No numbers. Stone with the hezzy. Pierce fires. Whoa! Largest lead of the game for Mizzou. The Tigers lead by double digits, and Todd Golden's got to take a TO.
And the Florida team, hey, Todd Golden told you at halftime, our guys are going to have to fight a little bit more. They also might have to bring a little bit more help when they see a guard posted up down low.
Gators have struggled in the second half, just 3 for 12, bringing their field goal percentage in the game to 37%. Lee got by Mitchell, had nowhere to go, and nearly threw it out of bounds. Houck moves it again. Condon, 5 to shoot. Nothing. Didn't hit the rim. Missouri basketball leading by 10.
And a smart play by Dennis Gates. Out of timeout, drawing up a zone. More than likely, Florida's drawing up a man-to-man play, maybe both, but either way, they got Florida a little bit off kilter in their offensive set.
Mitchell gives it up, and Burns off the mark.
Burns says only deal with buzzer shots.
That's right. It's the only 3 he's made in his career. Beat the halftime buzzer. 11:47 to go in regulation. Missouri leading the reigning national champs by 10 in the SEC Open.
Decent three-point shooting they've had in the first half, which is better than they've had throughout the course of the season, been an Achilles heel, but it has not. They are 1 of 9 from 3, and 9 of their 13 shots have been from deep. So they've got to find a way to get the ball in the paint. And the first thing to do is get a traditional stop, get some tempo to this game, even though Missouri likes to play that way too, but try to beat Missouri down the court and get a little bit more pace so you're not bringing it up against a set defense every single time down.
5-second violation. Florida had 2 big second half comebacks in 2 of their biggest games of the season against Duke and UConn, but coughed it up late and couldn't finish. 13 double-digit comebacks for Florida under head coach Todd Golden, but none yet this year. 8 to shoot. How beautiful bounce pass. Threads the needle to Condon, and he picks up the foul on Mitchell. It's a second, pardon me, on Mark Mitchell. Well, Houck giving Florida 17 points a game tonight, just 9, and Condon has yet to hit his number, but he had to sit a good chunk of the first half in foul trouble. 69% free throw shooting. Yeah. Florida came in 13th in the SEC in free throw percentage. Condon makes 1 out of 2. Something else to keep in mind for the remainder of this game. This is a Florida team that has a very tight rotation. Meanwhile, Dennis Gates plays 10 regularly. Big block. Handlockton came out of there. And now Flan pushes across midcourt.
What a play by Handlockton to drop down, get some late help, and just pin that thing against the backboard.
Condon got tied up. It stays with Florida. Barrett thought it was a bad call. Dennis Gates is going to go ahead and use his challenge here with 3 timeouts remaining.
Not only are you trusting your player out there to give you the right signal, but you got an iPad on the bench trying to hurry for it.
Went off of Condon's chin and then perhaps his hand. That's what Barrett was claiming.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think that's going to be Missouri ball overturned.
That clouds the picture just a little.
Yeah, it does.
After review, the Missouri coach was successful. It will be White's ball. He will not lose his challenge.
Look, I thought it was pretty clear that it was off Florida, but I could see where, to your point, wasn't conclusive enough, but I think they got it right.
So Gates will retain his challenge. Mitchell lost the handle on the entry pass.
You go through all that, Florida has the ball right back.
Is that a ball don't lie situation?
No. The ball's lied to me way too many times.
Condon muscling inside, Handlockton now, and the 7-footer converts for his first bucket.
Yeah, Mitchell just wasn't quite crafty enough there. Condon saw where he was trying to come for the backside and left Handlockton wide open. Too easy of a view.
Baseline drive and a foul charge to Houck. I thought Houck would have his superpowers back. We're talking to him at shoot around. The mustache has returned.
He said it a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
It's like Superman's cape.
Yeah. I mean, this guy, we saw him, I think it was Mississippi State last year, he put on a show where he went full mustache. And after seeing that performance, the way he capitalized through it all, I know Condon and several others across the SEC were popular SEC Player of the Year picks preseason, but my vote was 10 and blue. I saw what he could do last year, and Todd Golden moving him to the 3. We saw what happened to Walter Clayton when Todd Golden moved him to the point, and people questioned, can he actually play the point? Look, if Todd Golden puts you in a new spot, you're going to be successful.
Todd Golden not happy. Condon with the hip check picks up his 4th personal foul. And they'll lose Condon for at least a few minutes. We'll see. Todd Golden is tempted to bring him back. Mitchell on Lee, huge mismatch. He goes to his left often. Wow.
Yeah, that's the best matchup Missouri can have. Surprised Florida didn't bring help, but Lee held his own.
Lee finds Houck. And Houck draws the whistle. Foul charge to Jacob Cruz.
Houck is a really good cutter, especially off that right side wing. He gets so many dunks off the right side. We saw the lob earlier. All season long, we've seen him either catch and drive. Just really reads the defense extremely well. And again, it's might not be the sexiest stat, but getting to this bonus this early is a way for Florida to claw back into this game. We saw Missouri with 4 quick fouls to start this second half that's catching up to him.
Another one for Houck, who had 16 and 7 against Missouri last year in the second matchup in Nashville. He went 10 of 12 from the line. Hand locked him, missed the bunny on the rebound.
Boy, did Missouri get away with one there.
Flan picks up a cheapie. Flan wasn't a fan of the call, thought he got pushed off. That's like trading paint on business Luke 70. You just keep your eyes down and keep driving.
Yeah, Flan frustrated because his job is to make the defender or the opponent run through his chest, as the Florida coaching staff preached. Guy whistled for one there. And Flan's a guy that, I mean, look, we've seen him dominate some games when he was at Arkansas a year ago before he was injured with the ball in his hands, really good. That swagger of a New York City guard, and we just haven't seen that confidence and swagger so far this year for Florida.
He played his prep ball at Archbishop Stepinac. He was a New York Mr. Basketball growing up in the Bronx.
Todd Golden quick to defend him. He said, look, he's running our team. We're better when he's on the court. The only thing he's not doing well is shooting for us.
Yeah, he said he was doing everything. He just had knocked down shots. I said, you're not going to go full Will Wade on us, are you? Never go full Will Wade. 8 to shoot. Here's Mack to the baseline. 4 to shoot. Phillips spins. Everybody is there. Spun right into trouble. Tigers got a fresh shot clock and then a reach in afterwards. That's the second on Houck this half.
And those are those loose ball situations Dennis Gates knew his team had to come up with in the second half. You've alluded to it, Tom. So many of those have gone Florida's way, and Missouri just gets in there, scramble drill, 2 hands on the ball, save a possession.
Missouri team that last season had 3 wins against top 5 opponents, including then number 5 Florida in Gainesville. Catch and shoot. Stone's not shy, is he? Back to Flan, into the paint. Tip good, hand locked, and he's taking advantage of some minutes with Condon in foul trouble.
That was all created by a semi-transition opportunity where Missouri was backpedaling. Florida took advantage. Nice drive by Flan.
You know, Florida picked up a few quick fouls on Missouri first few minutes of this half, but haven't pushed it to work their way into the bonus or into the. I mean, they're in the bonus now, but it took them a while. They haven't gotten back to the free throw line. Here's Robinson.
Now Florida showing a little bit of their own zone.
Mack, UCLA transfer, kicks it back out. Cruz steps into a 3. And hand locks and lets it go out of bounds.
We're getting a couple consecutive stops for Florida. Good contest on the 3. And now let's see if they can capitalize with the bucket against this really feisty, confusing Missouri half-court defensive team.
Missouri was picked 7th in the SEC, the best preseason ranking in 8 years. But they lost all of their big games in the non-conference. On the road at Notre Dame, in Kansas City against KU, and in St. Louis against Illinois. To the baseline. Out to Flan. Now Lee. 3 for 3. Rebounded by Robinson. Mitchell trying to work it inside. Phillips powers into Houck, who reaches in, and then the shot is off the mark. And the Gators want to replay. Houck thought it was a hook and hold. It's Chinyelu charged with his second. There is a lot of frustration for the fellas from Gainesville.
He told us before the game, he goes, look, I think we have gotten better, but because the quality of competition the past couple weeks has been inferior, we'll find out tonight. And so I think it's been a mixed bag. I think offensively in the first half, shooting the 3 better, but you wonder if that was fool's gold, because here in the second half, they've been 1 for 10 from 3, and that's been their kryptonite.
That's the first point for Mizzou, the last 4:45. Tigers settle into the zone again. Illinois shot holes in this zone. En route to the largest victory in the history of that rivalry, and Howe answers another assist on a Florida bucket.
Yeah, we talked about his terrific cutting and the spacing, but the interior passing of the Florida Bigs is absolutely elite.
It is a talented front line and an unselfish front line. Condon back on the floor with 4 personals. I thought they might sit him a little bit longer, but he re-enters at the under 8. Challenge mid-range, Anthony Robinson. 16 now for the Tiger point guard.
Well, he's missed a couple of the easier shots, but he has made a couple of the most difficult mid-range contested ones.
Condon playing with 4 personal fouls. Lob, out, reach back to get it.
Yet another cut, and great instincts from that right side of the court by Hout, and Alex Condon being a point center for the second lob for that duo in this second half alone.
They won a great pass. Fland with the reach and knocked it loose. Robinson recovers. Then he puts Fland on his hip. Reverse no. Out of bounds. Florida basketball.
And here it is. Condon's going to look to take his 3, and at the last second just lobs it up to Hout, who takes care of the rest. And that's your 5-man at 6'10". He's got 5 assists in this game.
Previous plays under review, coach's challenge.
That could be tough. Look, I saw at the end of the A&M LSU game earlier today that if you're out of challenges, you can't challenge these deflections. Of course, if you're out of timeouts, you can't either. But
it used to be that the officials could correct their own mistakes. That it is no
After
longer
review,
possible.
Coach's challenge successful. It'll be White's ball.
I didn't know you went to law school.
But from a deflection standpoint, they're out.
Mitchell converts. Third on Chinulu, the Florida front line in foul trouble, and Martin Mitchell is flexing for Mizzou.
Well, a prophetic challenge by Dennis Gates, because if you knew this was going to be the outcome of winning that, you would take it all day long. Mark Mitchell has 17 and 1s on the season coming into this game. That's more than 1 per game, and you see his ability to finish through contact.
Old-fashioned three-point play to go with a three-pointer he made in the first half. The Tiger lead is 6. Trent Pierce back on the floor. Dennis Gates spoke to us with a quiet confidence at shoot-around today. Finally back to full speed and full health, and the Tigers are showing it tonight. Fland leaves Robinson in the dust, but left it short. Lee fights for the rebound. Here's Fland from the corner. And Robinson corrals a loose ball up ahead. Pierce. Fouled by Hout. 3 on Hout, 4 on Condon, 3 on Chinulu.
There's something about missed corner 3s that make you more vulnerable than ever as a transition defense. If you shoot a corner 3, you better hassle everybody back, because so many times your teammates are sunk below the free throw line, especially when the point guard's shooting it. Missouri opportunistic there.
First game of the season for Trent Pierce. From Tulsa, Oklahoma, out of Union High, and then Compass Prep. His mom played basketball at Oral Roberts. She was a professional in France. And Pierce 2 for 2 from the line. Cruz late to get down the floor. On the other side, Condon takes advantage.
You're exactly right. That became a 5-on-4 opportunity as Cruz was dealing with a headband or something down there. This Florida team doesn't have a lot of depth. They typically play only 7 or so, maybe 8, whereas Missouri is bringing a wave of guys. They have played a total of 11 in this game.
Mitchell got a step on Chinulu, but the entry pass deflected. Golden's got a big old ace up his sleeve with the 7-1 Micah Handlogton that he can bring off the bench. Here's Mitchell attacking Chinyalu. Lee tying up Robinson in the corner. 7 on the shot clock. Robinson can't shake him. 4 to shoot. Here's Mitchell for 3 again. Condon with the rebound. Pushes it ahead to Lee. 2-on-1. The lob. Oh my, that would have been something. Missouri still on skates and Fland able to finish. Missouri never got set. And we've got a 1-possession game. Or pardon me, 4-point Missouri lead. Cruz begging for it. Here's Mitchell.
But you see Cruz guarded by Houck. He has not got those post-up opportunities in the second half.
Strong take, Mark Mitchell. And both teams begging for whistles here in the second half. Under 5 to play. Fland dumps it off Chinyalu, lost it between his legs. 5 on the shot clock. Houck pushed for 4 feet.
That is such a crucial catch by Chinyalu. Fland gave up the easy floater, probably not the right decision, but Chinyalu just saves a possession, catching a tough ball, saving 2 points after being brilliant on the defensive end as well. He does so many little things that impact winning, does 9 in blue. When the game starts to get away, when the opponent has 5 or so field goal more attempts than you do, I can live with that. We'll make up for that in other ways. Right now, Florida has 7 more field goal attempts than Missouri, so keep an eye on that stat. If you're Missouri, you can't let that increase to double figures with offensive rebounds to Florida.
A pressure Stone, got a step and got all the way in and drew the whistle.
Boy, that could be it could be the play of the game if they call that on Condon.
Todd Golden wants him to take a look at this because he claims that Stone should be charged with a flagrant 1 on the drive with the flailing elbow. Be a flagrant on Stone or just a basketball play. Watch where the elbow ends up. So it's a 2-point Missouri lead. The announcement
after review, we have no foul on the play.
And how is that not an appeal that should cost my opposing coach his final timeout?
Stone leaves a free throw short. It adds Houck to the foul trouble. He's got 4. Condon has 4. Chinyalu, who returns for Handlogton, has 3. And now Jaden Stone, playing his first game since November, bricks both free throws. Tigers clinging to a 2-point lead, under 4 to play. Missouri just 61% at the free throw line tonight. On their feet here in Boone County. Condon to Houck. Offers a screen. Houck for 3. Yes, sir! Florida back in front.
You see why Dennis Gates said that guy's a first rounder, no doubt about it. He's done so much off the bounce, the catch, and then that time showed you his perimeter game.
It's a 9-0 Florida run spread out over the last 2.5 minutes. Robinson with the push off. It sends Fland to the hardwood.
And that's where, if you're Missouri, your starting point guard just has to keep his composure and not get that offensive foul. But on the other end, here's Houck, just with a little side step over a contested hand, and they have been ice cold from 3, but you talk about a timely 3-point shot. It doesn't get much better than that.
First lead for Florida since under a minute in the first half. Condon can't add to it. Rebounded by Jaden Stone. Stone pulls from 3. That was an aggressive move. Offensive rebound, Mizzou. Robinson lob, doesn't finish. Gets it back for another crack. Now Mitchell. Pierce all the way to the rim, and with the left-handed flourish of the finish. Mizzou back in front by 1. Fland to Houck. Houck fadeaway. No good.
Todd Golden says, calm down. That's a 1-foot fadeaway, Mitty. That's not Florida's offense.
Here's Mitchell attacking Condon. Can't get through him. Pierce pull up three. Yes, sir! 5 straight for Pierce. 4-point lead for Mizzou. Flan kicks it into the corner. Houck back to Lee. He's been quiet late. Flan for 3. Rolls off, but Houck cleans it up. 21 points for Thomas Houck. He does everything for Florida.
Well, we'll first look at Missouri, and this is about knowing your strengths and weaknesses. Mitchell, they are daring him to shoot it. He says, no, that's not my strength. I understand time and score. Because of his patience, because of his pivot work, he got his team a better shot as opposed to taking the bait. And then Thomas Houck just flying in out of nowhere to do what Florida does almost better than anybody in the country. They are second in the country, getting 45% of their misses.
Mizzou has won 27 of its last 29 inside the arena.
And Tom, this is absolutely massive for Missouri. I'm not saying this isn't a big game for Florida, a road win in the SEC, but this is a chance to completely turn your season around, the psyche of your team for Missouri, and capitalize on finally being healthy.
Hand-Longton with the foul away from the ball. His second on the Florida big.
They did that on purpose.
Yep.
They absolutely did that. Phillips not being a good free throw shooter. They're playing the odds. It is a 1-on-1 situation right now, and you have a player that's 10 for 22 from the line, 1-on-1 situation, try to steal a possession.
And they do. Keep in mind, Missouri scoring over 1 point per possession.
Florida doesn't win a national championship without that strategy.
Tipped on the pass to Houck. Jonathan Sapphire is their analytics guru. He is all over it. And this Florida staff, one of the best in the country at it. 1:29 to play. Corner inbounds for Houck. Florida led this game for most of the first half, a good 19 minutes before Missouri tied it with a halftime buzzer beater. Houck off balance and air ball. Luke Northweather returns for Dennis Gates' team. Phillips will take a seat.
That's part of the chess match. Dennis Gates says, all right, I'm not going to be fooled again on that. Let me put a better shooter in the game so they don't do the old hack-a-shack strategy.
See if that costs Missouri on the defensive end. Approaching the 1-minute mark. Mitchell just 5 of 14 shooting today. 10 on the clock. Attacks Chinyelu, draws the foul, and Mark Mitchell, who went to the line 93 times last year, will go to the free throw line and try to make it a 2-possession game. That is foul number 4 on Ruben Chinyelu.
Well, he loves his left hand, and when he goes right, he is setting you up to spin back left. This is what he wants to do.
This is more than love, it's lust with the left hand.
And if I'm Chinyelu, I feel like I can't play that any better. Chinyelu is an absolute brick wall. You are not going to move him. And he sat on that left hand. But Mitchell, who's so good at drawing fouls, he is top 50 in the country at getting himself to the free throw line. And it's a rare skill set. Some players have it, some don't. And Mitchell absolutely does.
He had 19 points in the McDonald's All-America game coming out of Sunrise Christian. Spent 2 seasons at Duke. And Mitchell, in his second year as a Tiger, knocks down 2 free throws. I don't know if the building has been like this since the upset against Kansas last December. Tigers are 10-0 this year and scoring 70 points. They've got 71. Flan, hesitation, and foul on his way in. That is a foul to Jaden Stone, his fourth.
And that's what you want to see from Boogie Flan. Look, he's 2 for 10. He is 0 for 6 from 3. But you need mental toughness from your point guard when the game's on the line to say, you know what, I'm going to get to the rack, get my head down, get to the line, and not shy away from the moment. Really nice job by Boogie Flan.
And he's got 7 assists tonight. Flan's got another free throw coming. He was give it and take it at the end of the Duke game. He hit the go-ahead 3 late in Cameron Indoor, and then he turned it over on what would have been the final possession. Boogie Flan, sophomore from the Bronx. 2 for 2. Florida installs a full court press for the first time tonight. Mitchell in the backcourt. And a timeout taken by Dennis Gates.
And in these positions, you got to have a inbounder you trust. And this is Pierce's first game. It just shows you the value of having a full squad for Missouri when somebody like that hadn't played all season, but is in this crucial moment for what could be the biggest win of the year.
Flan is harassing Robinson. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Here's a screen from Mitchell. Robinson for 3. Banked it in! A Boone County bank shot for Anthony Robinson, the second. Here's Houck with 17, and air ball again. And then a foul on the floor when the shot went up. It was Trent Pierce who gets whistled for the foul, and Florida will go to the free throw line down 5 with 15.7 left.
But you will take that foul all day long. Dennis Gates thrilled they blew the whistle because Chinyelu with that easy 2 taken away.
Condon 5 for 8 from the line tonight. That 3 for Robinson gave him a game-high 19. 13 in the second half. Nails them both. Florida will use some depth to foul and stop the clock. Here's what Robinson did.
Well,
Banks are open late.
Yeah, and really fortunate because Stone didn't really know the play. Remember, Stone hasn't played in over a month. And so the whole team was telling him where to go. It was a little discombobulated, and Robinson bails them out with a clutch shot. And even though Stone is 12 for 15 on the year, if I'm Florida, I'm saying, hey, look, he hadn't been in this situation in a long time. See if 17 and White isn't a guy you might put at the line.
Home run ball. Here's Stone. No whistle. Cruz finds it, though. And then Cruz fouled by Brown.
Well, Dennis Gates said, to start the second half, we have to win more 50-50 balls. Not a bigger track down of a loose ball in this game than that one right there by Cruz.
They didn't win the 50-50 balls in the first half. One make for Cruz can make it a 2-possession game. He's a 78% free throw shooter. And he's now 8 of 9 tonight. And barring a Gator miracle, that should seal it for Mizzou. Top 25 losses today to number 17 Kansas and number 12 North Carolina, and now 22 is on the ropes. Cruz knocks them both down.
If you've been watching SEC basketball today, you know no lead is safe. 4-point lead, 5 seconds to go down in Athens before the Bulldogs pulled it off. You've got to be smart here. If you're Missouri, no fouls. You are a stop away from winning this game and changing your entire season.
Land pushes it up court. Chinyelu had Condon. Now he holds. Houck down the lane. Fouled and one! 23 for Thomas Houck, and he's going to the free throw line.
Chinyelu doesn't like to dribble, and I'm not sure he didn't do a moonwalk before he handed that ball off to Houck. And Chinyelu was searching for somebody to pass it to. They said he kept it, but there's Houck, who has just been relentless all game long. Anything but an and one.
And the veteran connects. It is a 2-point Missouri lead, 7.2 remaining. Inbound to Mitchell. They don't foul him immediately. They tied him up and then get the foul with 4.3 remaining. Mark Mitchell, a 69% free throw shooter.
Well, they ran the same press break that they got the long ball on the previous possession. First couple options weren't there, and good job by Mitchell just getting himself open. Now you got to have ice in your veins.
3 for 3 from the line tonight. And the door is open for Florida. Gators this evening, 26% from 3. Everybody on the floor can shoot it, except for Chinyelu, who's in prime rebounding position. He's taken one and missed the only one all season. So 4 out of the 5 from Florida could let it go from deep.
Well, with no timeouts left, if you're Florida, situational, you got to know, what are we doing if it's a make or miss?
It's a miss. Chinyelu to Fland. Fland for 3. Off the mark. And Missouri holds on.